Strap yourselves in and stay locked right here because this is a massive one. Manchester United have arrived at Old Trafford ahead of tonight's huge Premier League clash against Brentford, and you can already feel the tension, the focus and the importance of this game as we enter the final stretch of the season with Champions League qualification right within reach. Let us start with the numbers because context matters before everything else. 58 points. Third place. A maximum of 6 points away from guaranteeing Champions League football for next season with 5 games remaining. The gap between United and 6th place has been widened to the point where the realistic and honest assessment of this situation is that qualification is not just possible or probable, but almost certain if this squad continues to perform at the level it has demonstrated is available to it. The Chelsea win last week was one of the most disciplined, most professional and most convincing performances of the entire Carrick era given the extraordinary defensive limitations that accompanied it, and arriving at tonight's Brentford fixture on the back of that result gives this squad the confidence and the belief that comes from knowing they can win the big games, even when the conditions are maximally challenging. The return of Harry Maguire is the headline injury and availability news heading into tonight's game, and it is a return that transforms United's defensive options in ways that go beyond the simple addition of one experienced centre-back to the lineup. Maguire missed the Leeds defeat, a painful and controversial occasion that United will want to put firmly behind them, and he also missed the Chelsea win where the extraordinary defensive patchwork of Mazraoui and Aidan Heaven at centre-back somehow held firm long enough for Matthias Cunha's goal to prove decisive. His presence tonight restores the kind of senior leadership and organisational authority to the backline that the teenage Heaven has been shouldering with impressive composure, but which becomes considerably less demanding when a 33-year-old England international is standing alongside you, directing traffic and providing the experience that the biggest moments require. The predicted partnership of Maguire and Heaven at centre-back tonight is one of the most intriguing selection decisions of the entire Carrick era. Heaven was outstanding at Stamford Bridge, his composure, his reading of the game and his ability to handle the physical demands of defending against a Premier League attack at Chelsea, producing a performance that significantly exceeded what most observers thought realistic for a 19-year-old, making what amounted to one of his most high-profile appearances in senior football. Carrick recognised that quality and has made clear that Heaven has earned his place, and starting him alongside Maguire rather than simply reverting to the most experienced combination available when options return reflects a management philosophy that rewards performance rather than reputation. The two have not played together in a back four before, which adds a small element of the unknown, but Heaven's recent form and Maguire's experience make this an entirely defensible and potentially extremely solid pairing. Lisandro Martinez continues to serve the second match of his 3-game ban following the red card against Leeds, and the injustice of that dismissal, which every honest assessment of the footage confirms was applied with a selective standard that penalised United while simultaneously ignoring Calvert-Lewin's hand on Martinez's throat, remains a source of legitimate anger around Old Trafford. The ban runs for one more game after tonight, covering the Liverpool fixture on May the 3rd, which means that arguably United's single most important remaining match of the season will be played without their most aggressive and most physically imposing centre-back. That reality has been accepted within the camp because there is nothing that can be done to change it, but the focus heading into tonight and beyond is on demonstrating that this squad has sufficient depth and sufficient collective quality to navigate these absences and keep the Champions League dream on track regardless. Lenny Yoro's situation heading into tonight is one of cautious uncertainty, the French centre-back having missed training last week with a minor knock that Carrick described at his Thursday press conference as a possibility for involvement without being able to give a 100% guarantee of availability. Carrick's assessment was measured and deliberate, saying there is a possibility, but at this stage it is not fully confirmed, which suggests the final decision may have come down to how Yoro felt in the hours before kickoff following the training sessions across the weekend. Whether he is available from the start or sits among the substitutes waiting for an opportunity to return to competitive football, his potential involvement tonight adds another layer of depth to a defensive group that needs every available body given the ongoing nature of the injury and suspension challenges that have been mounting across recent weeks. Patrick Dorgu is making good progress in his return from the hamstring injury that has kept him out since the Arsenal win in January, with Carrick describing him as back closer to training with the group, which is genuine progress from the individual rehabilitation work he has been doing for months. Whether the Dane can feature before the end of the season remains unclear, but the directness of that timeline update suggests there may yet be a dog contribution to United's Champions League run-in if his body continues to respond positively, and if the remaining matches stretch sufficiently into May to give his recovery the time it needs. Matthijs de Ligt, meanwhile, has finally returned to individual training following his back problem that has kept him absent since November, another gentle step on what has been one of the most frustratingly prolonged recovery processes this club has managed all season. The midfield picks itself and has done so for several months now. Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo in the double pivot is the combination that has been the engine room of everything Carrick has built since January, with Casemiro's experience and his ability to protect space and control tempo complementing Mainoo's energy, his progressive carrying of the ball, and the natural football intelligence that has made the 20-year-old academy graduate one of the most impressive young midfielders in the Premier League this season. The Mainoo contract extension that is closing in will keep that quality at Old Trafford until 2031, a piece of business that becomes more significant with every passing performance from the England international. Tonight he plays alongside Casemiro in what might be one of the final months of the Brazilian legend's United career, and both the appreciation for what Casemiro has given this club and the recognition of what Mainoo represents for its future are emotions that will be present in tonight's matchday atmosphere, whether they are articulated or not. Bruno Fernandes at number 10 is the player whose contribution on the ball will be central to whether United can break down a Brentford side that has become something of a draw specialist in recent weeks, collecting 5 consecutive Premier League stalemates that reflect both the solidity of their defensive organisation and the frustrating inability to consistently convert their own attacking opportunities into 3 points. Fernandes is chasing Premier League history with his assists tally this season, approaching the record of 20 that has stood since Thierry Henry's extraordinary campaign over 2 decades ago. And the motivation that comes from the proximity of that milestone will be an additional driver of performance quality from a player who has been the most consistently excellent and most consistently decisive attacking presence United have had available all season. His record against Brentford makes tonight's fixture one where he will arrive at the Emirates in the mood to add to his tally. Bryan Mbeumo on the right brings his pace, his directness and his ability to create danger from wide positions against a Brentford defensive organisation that knows his strengths exceptionally well, given that he spent 4 seasons at the G-Tech Community Stadium before his move to Old Trafford. The familiarity cuts both ways. Mbeumo knows the Brentford system, knows the way they defend, knows where the spaces are likely to appear, and the Brentford defenders know what Mbeumo is capable of and will have prepared specifically for the threat he represents. Matheus Cunha on the opposite flank provides the creativity and the unpredictability that makes United's attacking shape so difficult to prepare for as a unit, and Benjamin Sesko leads the line with the hunger of a player who has not scored in 3 games and who scored his first United goal against these very opponents at the G-Tech back in September. Tonight at Old Trafford represents the ideal opportunity for the Slovenian to rediscover his most clinical form with the Champions League qualification race entering its decisive phase. The historical record between these clubs at Old Trafford tonight is worth noting. United have won all 4 of their Premier League home fixtures against Brentford at this ground. Even in the darkest periods of recent United history, Old Trafford has been a reliable fortress against the Bees, with the last 2 home wins ending 2-1 in matches that required character and determination to deliver rather than simply quality. Carrick himself has overseen 5 wins and just 1 defeat at Old Trafford during this incredible interim spell, a home record that has made the Theatre of Dreams genuinely intimidating for visiting teams in a way it had not been for years before his arrival. The one concern heading into tonight is the reverse fixture back in September when Brentford were 3-1 winners at the G-Tech Community Stadium, one of the more dismal performances of the Amorim era that United's current players will want to use as additional motivation for tonight's response. Brentford also won 4-3 at Old Trafford last May in a game that was as chaotic as the scoreline suggests, which means back-to-back defeats for United against the Bees in fixtures that have been anything but routine. Tonight the expectation is fundamentally different. Carrick's United are a transformed proposition from the team that produced those results, and the defensive organisation, the midfield quality and the collective belief that has been built since January makes a continuation of that particular losing run against Brentford an outcome that feels genuinely improbable rather than merely unlikely. Carrick addressed his squad before they stepped off the bus and walked into Old Trafford. And his message will have been the same message he has delivered at every important occasion since January. Focus on the next 90 minutes. Trust the system. Trust each other. Trust the standards we have set and the identity we have built. The Champions League is coming. 5 games away at most. Every result matters. Every performance matters. And tonight, against a resilient Brentford side that will not make things easy, the character of this squad will be tested and must be demonstrated. Maguire is back. The midfield is set. Sesko wants a goal. Fernandes is chasing history. Old Trafford is ready. And Michael Carrick's Manchester United are stepping onto that pitch tonight with the belief and the momentum of a club that is not just heading back to the Champions League. It is heading back to relevance, back to identity, back to everything that made this the most famous football club in the world. The bus has arrived. The floodlights are blazing. 60,000 supporters are ready to drive this team over the line. Come on, United, let us do this. Now I want your prediction. Do United